Assigning surveys is fairly straightforward. We can do this in a couple different ways. The version that we see here at the top is assigning a survey to a specific record. So we'll head to that record in question, head on down to the Surveys and Responses subtable, click Add New Survey, and we've got options like we see at the bottom. So we're going to add survey to the record. We'll select the survey in question. We can change the title if we need to. I don't tend to, honestly, but you can. And then select your respondent type. Is this for vendors and customers? If it's for vendors and customers, those counterparties can access the survey by way of the vendor client gateway. So really only useful if we have licensed the vendor client gateway add-on module. Or we can assign it to our internal employees, our users. If we're assigning it to our internal employees, we can select which respondent type specifically in there can answer this survey. Is it the employee assigned and or additionally assigned employees, my department sorts of employees, or do I want to pick specific employees? We'll then give it a due date and the response open date. Response open date is an optional item, but we can say I don't want to see the answers until date X, which may be useful in a number of situations based on restrictions and guidelines for the organization. When a user is assigned a survey, he or she is mailed there is a survey awaiting them, and it's also available through the My menu and Surveys and Questionnaires. There is another means of assigning these, and that is doing so en masse. We can assign a survey to many records at once simply by accessing a field very similar to this, but from our navigation menu and our assignment subsection, and building rules, just like we would say for an ad hoc report, to determine when and where this survey gets assigned. And we would still have many of the same options available to us: our respondent type, our due date, selecting the survey, etc. When it comes to a user taking a survey, doing so inside of CobbleStone is fairly straightforward. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to head to the My menu from the top navigation menu and down to My Assigned Surveys. The My Assigned Surveys page displays, and they can see any surveys to which they still need to respond and any that they could view responses for because they've answered them previously. As an end user, to go on in and start my survey, I would see an image similar to the one at the top. And there's my welcome message: please complete the annual contractor survey. It's very short. It's not incredibly descriptive, but it works. If I've saved a section and I had to leave and pick up later on, I can see I've got a welcome back type message. Welcome back to the survey once you're ready to resume, so on and so on and so on. The survey has 3 sections. Each question must be answered fully and accurately, and then so on. And finally, we'll click Resume Survey to pick up where we left off. Navigating through a survey is also fairly straightforward. At the bottom and the top of each section, we have Previous and Next buttons. If it's the final section, rather than Next, as we can see, it's Submit. We can also manually select the section by way of a pick list. Once we've selected a section, all of the questions assigned to that section display. So we would go through and answer them, and then click Next or Previous to save the responses in that section, or if we've answered everything, go ahead and click Submit. When an end user is submitting, they're brought to the attestation page. And here under Information, we have our attestation notice or our attestation message that we set up when we were building the survey. They're asked to enter their full name and mark the tick box that they are agreeing to and have read the information in the attestation message. And as I mentioned earlier, if an individual who has submitted this particular survey or questionnaire would like to see his or her responses, they could go back to that My Assigned Surveys page and click View Submission. As an administrator, we can also see a great amount of information. So we could head in and potentially edit a survey that's been assigned. We can also view the results to open up a results page and view them question by question for each respondent. We could also click the caret and quickly see which respondents have answered and which have not. And those who have started to answer, how much of the survey is completed as a percentage broken down by number of sections, if it's been completed, and who the respondent is. And if we can see, if we so choose to, we could also send an email to remind the intended respondent to go ahead and answer those questions. To answer a survey, I'm going to head into My Assigned Surveys. Let's see if I have any. Nope, I don't have any that I need to answer. So I'm going to head into a contract record and assign a survey. So in this case, I'm assigning just the one survey for one given user. Remember, I could head into Manage Setup, Surveys and Questionnaires, and go to Bulk Survey Process and fill out the same kinds of items, but with a series of rules to determine on which records they'll be applied. So I'll scroll down my page. I'm afraid there is no side menu option for this at this time. And go to my surveys and responses. Now you can see I've added this a couple times. I'm going to go ahead and add this survey once more. I've only got the one survey available on this module, so I've selected that automatically. Survey title will be Partner Survey, and responses are going to be due by the end of the month. Yes, I can allow retaking, and then I need to get my respondent type. It's going to be an internal employee, and I'm going to pick a specific employee, and in this case, I'm going to go ahead and add myself. And that's the only one I want, so I'm going to add a survey. So now an email has been sent out to me that says I need to go ahead and answer this.